Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, where we say some people buy the sizzle, other people buy the steak, but nobody wants to buy the vomit. And I find this to be an interesting story just to see what's going on with Israel, especially in regards to popular culture and how people think about Israel. And I find this curious just because so much of the tech industry actually intersects through Israel. A lot of AI companies are out of Israel, drone companies are out of Israel. Intel was going to put one of the largest investments into Israel ever, a $20 billion investment. That fell apart. But to be clear, that had nothing to do with ethnic cleansing and everything to do with the idiocy of the modern, American corporation. We have NVIDIA putting a tremendous amount of money into Israel. And so what's curious, right, is as Israel commits ethnic cleansing, the question comes up is how is the tech industry going to react, and how is it going to affect all of us, right? I talked about this before with Microsoft. So one of the interesting things about Microsoft is Microsoft has gotten a tremendous amount of pushback from its own employees about its actions supporting the IDF in Israel. Basically, the Azure storage system is being used to record every single piece of Palestinian digital communication, right? So basically, Microsoft is making billions of dollars a year, literally to support the cleansing of an entire people. But what's curious here is that Microsoft has gotten a tremendous amount of pushback. There's been a lot of protests. People just recently got arrested, the whole 9 yards. On the other hand, you don't see that so much from the other companies, right? You don't see people protesting NVIDIA. You don't see people protesting Intel. And so there is a big question there about where everything will fall out. And why I find this to be interesting, follow along with, is just how the story keeps continuing, right? It's curious right now. Literally, Israel's own court, one of Israel's own court, has stated that the Israeli soldiers are starving the Palestinian hostages, right? So they went in, they took a number of Palestinian hostages, and they're literally starving them. They're literally not giving them enough nutrition to be able to properly survive. Apparently, a 17-year-old Palestinian died while he was a hostage of the Israeli government. And, those folks think that is just A-okay. Again, when I say the word hostage, what's the difference between the word hostage and the word prisoner? What's the difference between a homeless person and an unhoused person? What is the difference between an illegal immigrant and an undocumented immigrant? What is the difference between a prisoner and a hostage? It's the wording that you want to use, right? We will trade X number of prisoners for Y number of hostages. Why not? Let's just say it what it is. You will trade X number of hostages for Y number of hostages, and let's just get through all of this stupidity. But anyways, it's kind of interesting just to take a look at this and see how the world is really shifting. It's amazing how events happen in the world that you're just not expecting. I remember when 9/11 happened. What most people don't realize with George Bush, the first 9 months of the George Bush presidency, the most controversial thing, the real controversial thing that he was doing was trying to create a national electricity grid. This was his big controversial thing. There were all of these energy people that were coming in having, backroom conversations basically on who was going to make money off of a national energy grid. Hey, remember the days when we used to scream at our president for creating a national energy grid? I remember those days. I miss those days. Literally before that 9/11, one of the less controversial but controversial things that Bush was doing was he was actually trying to get us out of military adventurism. He had already put on the table the idea of breaking leases for military bases all around the world to bring the troops home. That is true. That is true too. And then 9/11 happened. And then 9/11 happened, right? And things changed. Things changed. We got into the longest war in American history and that other one that we also don't talk about. And I don't know, we spent trillions of dollars to waterboard brown people. Right. We went from trying to get a national energy grid to waterboarding brown people. That's just how things go sometimes, right? It's curious to see how stuff just shifts and to see what the fallout, right? Thinking about this with Trump being elected. What's kind of funny when I scream about Trump is on an eagle eye level. The weird part is, like, at an eagle eye level, I actually agree with a lot of the stuff that he's talking about. I believe in more isolationist policies for the United States. I believe we should reshore manufacturing. I believe, and I've talked about this for years, we should get the fuck out of NATO. I think NATO should have been on death watch in 1995. Once we were sure the Warsaw Pact wasn't coming back, NATO should have been being unwound, right? There's a lot of this stuff at a 30,000 feet, viewpoint, I agree with. And then there's how he goes about this shit, right? People are like, I don't know what people were thinking when they voted for Trump. And it's like, reshoring manufacturing, trying to deal with the southern border, getting us out of military adventurism. I'm not really sure how you don't understand why many of us would like that. What we were not expecting is him trying to take over all of trade policy and him kissing Putin's ass, and now him trying to get us into war with Venezuela. Like, he's literally trying to get us into war with Venezuela. What? And I think this is the curious thing, where it's just like, life is going along, doing its thing, and something comes out of the from nowhere. And you're like, what the hell, right? Our economy is currently disintegrating because our current president is using the government in new and novel ways. He's literally hacked the government. He has found a way to interact with the government in poorly documented fashion. And basically, he's doing to the government what a 14-year-old does to your database server when they find new and innovative ways to interact with it. But anyways, with all of this, what's curious to see with Israel is basically how the reputation of Israel is absolutely falling apart. And the curious thing is what this will mean economically going into the future, right? That's one of the things I worry about with the United States, is so many of the things that we do, especially in the United States, are not required. Like, food is required. 10% of medical care is required. Housing is pretty nice, but you don't actually need HVAC systems. So let's just say you need HVAC systems, food, and the whole 9 yards. But the curious thing is that if you actually look at a country like the United States, the people that are working to provide things that we actually need to survive are relatively small. It just is true, right? I am sitting here, I make a decent amount of money screaming into a camera. You don't need this. You don't need it. You would probably be better off. I'll say it. I'll be the one to say it. You would probably be better off if you logged the fuck off and shut your computer down forever. But anyways, right? So much of the work that is done, don't need, right? Restaurants you don't need, movies you don't need, television you don't need, comic books you don't need. So much of the things that we do are entertainment or just fluff. And so one of the big concerning things with the economy is what happens when just a massive percentage of your economy is just a fluff economy. People keep handing money to each other because they're fucking bored and they don't know what else to do, right? They don't have a family, they don't have a religion, they don't have a community, they don't feel like they have a society, so they hand money. And so money keeps circulating around out of this weird, the Timuification of the economy. Like I'm not actually even anti-Timu in general, but if Timu went boom tomorrow, right? It's not People are still going to survive. But what happens? What happens if the entire economy is kind of like the Timuification, right? People do it because they're supposed to. And then what happens? Then what happens if more and more people start coming out and start screaming and start saying, this is bad. You should not buy this, that, or the other product, right? We're starting to see this with the United States, with Canadians, whether or not they're boycotting American products. That might be a bit of a stretch, but they're just not buying an American product. Right? Oh, this is a Canadian product and that's an American product, right? There's a boycott. There are boycotts out there that say, I will not buy an American product. But then there's just the at scale, people just making small decisions. Oh, that has a maple leaf on it. I will buy that instead, right? I'm not boycotting that. I'm just buying the one with the maple leaf on it, right? We're just reading, I think it was CNBC or Wall Street Journal or whatever, where made in Germany was becoming a big advertising thing in Germany, where a lot of Germans now don't want to deal with American products. I wonder why. And so now there's more of a push. There is actually an advertising campaign for made in Germany to stay away from American products. And so this isn't, right? This isn't trade policy. So many times when we think about the world, we think about what the governments are doing, what the politicians are doing, what the important people are doing. But so many things that actually affect the world are what just that daily decision that I buy this instead of that. Or I don't think I'm going to buy that today, right? I don't feel comfortable buying that anymore. So I'm just not going to. Okay, not a boycott, just like an right? So that's why I find interesting here, coming from The Guardian, actors and directors pledge not to work with Israeli film groups, quote, implicated in genocide. Exclusive. Hundreds of film workers join new boycott initiative criticized by Israeli producers groups as, quote, misguided. So Hollywood is getting involved to say, we are not going to deal with Israel. Now, what is the value of Mark Ruffalo anymore? I don't know. I never really cared about these movie stars to begin with. But if you start thinking about this kind of thing, if you start thinking psychologically about the words and the feelings that are put into the population of society, and then you start thinking about how that actually, works out at scale, I do think it's kind of interesting to be thinking about. And I talk about this with the economy because so much of military force, right? With the United States, our military force is backed by the US dollar. You don't have to shoot down our F-35s. You don't have to blow up our aircraft carriers. You just have to figure out a way to make the US dollar worthless, right? If we can't refuel, if we don't have the money to refuel an F-35, you don't have to worry about it bombing your ass. Right? An interesting thing to be thinking about with Israel, right? With their F-35s, with their military, with so much, right? That is being run based off of their economy. If their economy starts taking a real, sustained, and lasting hit, it is going to be ever more expensive to deal with their Iron Dome system, right? Their Iron Dome system is amazing. It only costs $50,000 or whatever per missile. What happens when you can't buy the missiles anymore? What happens when your tax base erodes to such a degree you can't buy those missiles? Is my question. Let's see here. Hundreds of actors, directors, and other film industry professionals have signed a new pledge vowing not to work with Israeli film institutions they say are, quote, implicated in genocide and apartheid against the Palestinian people. Quote, as filmmakers, actors, film industry workers, and institutions, we recognize the power of cinema to shape perceptions. The pledge reads, quote, in this urgent moment of crisis where many of our governments are enabling the carnage in Gaza, we must do everything we can to address complicity in that unrelenting horror. Signatories include filmmakers Yorgos Lanthimos, Ava DuVernay. Anyways, that person should be known by the critical drinker watchers out there. Asif, Boots Riley, Olivia Colman, Mark Ruffalo, Tilda Swinton, Javier Bardem, I don't know, Josh O'Connor, and a lot of other people. The pledge had 1,200 signers as of Sunday night. The pledge, shared exclusively with The Guardian, claims to draw inspiration from the cultural boycott that contributed to the end of apartheid in South Africa. It commits signatories not to screen films, appear at, or otherwise work with what is considered complicit institutions, including festivals, cinemas, broadcasters, and production companies. Examples of complicity include, quote, whitewashing or justifying genocide and apartheid, and are partnering with the government committing them. We, quote, we answer the call of Palestinian filmmakers who have urged the international film industry to refuse silence, racism, and dehumanization, as well as to do everything humanly possible to end the complicity in their oppression, the statement reads. The pledge was published by the group Film Workers for Palestine. Screenwriters David Farr, who is among the signatories, said in a statement, quote, as a descendant of Holocaust survivors, I am distressed and enraged by the actions of the Israeli state, which has for decades enforced an apartheid system on the Palestinian people, whose land they have taken, and which is now perpetuating genocide and ethnic cleansing in Gaza. Quote, in this context, I cannot support my work being published or performed in Israel. The cultural boycott was significant in South Africa. It will be significant this time, and in my view, should be supported by all artists of conscience. And so that's another interesting thing with this. This isn't just like, we're all gonna sign this paper. The idea is that they're trying to bring more people into the fold. An FAQ accompanying the pledge addresses how to determine which film entities are implicated and states, quote, Israel's major film festivals, including but not limited to Jerusalem Film Festival, Haifa International Film Festival, Dakaviv, and TLV Fest, continue to partner with the Israeli government while it carries out what leading experts have defined as genocide against the Palestinians in Gaza. Quote, the vast majority of Israeli film production and distribution companies, sales agents, cinemas, and other film institutions have never endorsed the full internationally recognized rights of the Palestinian people, it adds. The pledge notes that there are, quote, a few Israeli film entities that are not complicit and advises following guidelines set by Palestinian civil society. The film industry workers also clarify in their fact that the pledge does not prohibit them from working with Israeli individuals. Because if you won't work with an Israeli, that's racist. If you won't work with all the Israelis, I don't know, that's good. Anyway, I always love that. I always love that nowadays in this very like politically, I don't know if it's politically correct, in this right side of history world where everybody has to thread this ridiculous fucking needle. It's like we are against what these people are doing, but we are not against the individuals of this people. So therefore, like, anyway, quote, the call is for film workers to refuse to work with Israeli institutions that are complicit in Israel's human rights abuses against the Palestinian people, the statement reads. This refusal takes aim at institutional complicity, not identity. There are also 2 million Palestinians with Israeli citizenship, and Palestinian civil society has developed context-sensitive guidelines for that community. And so, yeah, there's going to be a lot more of the purity test there. Are you pure enough on the Palestinian cause? Which is going to be ever so much fun. You know what we need more of in 2025? Purity tests. Purity tests. You know, the problem with the Trump administration is, yeah, their purity test. See, when we create a purity test, we'll show you how a purity test should be created. I think this is curious, just to kind of, keep the finger on the pulse to see what's going on, right? You have the Microsoft employees doing their thing. You have the college kids doing their thing. You know, have actors and directors. You have Hollywood coming out. And you wonder what this spirals into. At the exact same time, Israel, Jesus Christ. Holy fuck. Israel's doing what Israel's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's times when there's like outrage and there's people screaming, and then you look at what actually happened and you're like, like, I don't like it, but I understand, right? That's right. My God, you see what Israel's doing? You're just like, what the fuck? You're starving your own hostages, right? Right. What did Netanyahu said? The most moral, ethical military in the world is starving their hostages. Literally, their own court came out. Their own judges said that the most moral and ethical military in the world is starving their hostages. And that's on top of the bombing hospitals and all the other horse crap that they're doing. You're just like, what the Jesus, have you people lost your minds? Don't worry, I don't have to be anti-Semitic. It's math, dipshits. It's math. Oh yeah, no! Egypt has 130 million people. What, Does Iraq have 45 or 80 million people? You are surrounded by 500 million people. 500 million people surround you, and that number is fucking growing. And you are absolutely massacring your own reputation with the parts of the world that allow your country to fucking exist, right? Where are your iron mines? Where are your copper mines? Where are your factories to build fucking F-35s? Anyways, I think what you're doing is unwise. As an anti-Semite, I'm saying, maybe it's not wise. I think what you're doing isn't going to work out well at the end of the day. For you. They just bombed Qatar. They just bombed Qatar. Like, what? Why did you bomb Qatar? Don't fucking bomb Qatar. What the fuck is wrong with you people? But anyways, think about how it spreads. Think about how that spreads. It's just a curious thing. We'll see how this works out at the end of the day. I just, again, I've been talking a lot about this over the last while because it has just gotten to be so, and as I say, like there's a lot of horror. There's a lot of horror show that goes on in the world, right? I don't talk about the Democratic Republic of Congo. That's a fucking horror show, right? Again, I watch this YouTube channel. I think it's called War Fronts. Anyways, there's this bald guy with a beard. He has like 20 channels. He was, I don't know, is it Sudan? Sudanland? Europe? I keep using that Europe joke. Anyways, one of these piss-ass third world countries out there, they've just fucking massacring people. Just hundreds of thousands of people have been massacred. I don't even remember where the hell it is. Like, it's going on right now. Is it Somalia? I don't know. Like I say, Somalia, Europe, potato. It's going on in one of those places, right? And here's the thing. I don't know what the fuck to do about Somalia. I don't know what to do about Sudanland? I don't know, right? I don't know about Sierra Leone or Democratic Republic of Congo or the rest of the crap. Does my heart go out to these people? Yes. But that really is about the end of the story. I don't know what else to say, right? I do think we should fund anti-HIV programs. I'm not sure why that's controversial. But anyways, I'm not a Christian, so I guess I don't get the Christian mentality that rips away anti-HIV programs from Africa. But anywho, right? But the thing is, like with Israel, we're funding this. My fucking tax money is going to those little shitheads over there so that they can ethnically cleanse a people that they despise, a people that they do not consider human beings. And that's the issue that Israel's going to run into day after fucking day, is you're not Sudanland or Sudan or Europe or any of these other fucking places, right? You are a place we are funding. The debt our grandchildren will have to pay is being mounted on our country to support your abject fucking evil. Imagine looking at abject fucking evil and then writing your tax check and knowing your money is directly funding this. And then think, right? At some point, you don't have to worry about the boycott, divest, sanction movement. People will just become so fucking disgusted at the idea of supporting that area that it just won't happen. Anyways, even Trump came out and said that. I was going to do an article about that, where he's going to do one of these. Trump literally came out and told the Israelis they're losing the support of Congress. So anyways, I don't know. Like, what happens to the tech industry if we lose Israel? What happens if NVIDIA pulls out? What happens if Intel pulls out? It's a curious question. And why I worry about this too as an American is I kind of feel like this is foreshadowing. This is foreshadowing. Like, you know, people are losing their ability to tolerate Israel, which, you know, is what it is. But I also feel like with our current administration, you know, the rest of the world is rather, you know, losing their ability to tolerate us. We are 330 million people. We're 330 million people out of 8 point some odd billion people. Think about this. India and China are now trying to make friends. And there's somewhere between like 2.5 to 3 billion people. Like those two countries alone have like 8x the population of the United States. And we're trying to piss them both off, right? We got 50% tariff on India because, and we've got whatever the fuck we're doing with China right now because. Like what happens when the people of the world are just like, I'm just done. Like look, America and Israel seem to love each other so much. Why don't they just be their own thing? I don't know. It's curious. What do you think about Hollywood? Hollywood turning against Israel. What do you think when ever fewer Hollywood movies are made? Are you gonna shed a tear when Hollywood self-destructs? I also think the interesting thing about this, especially like Mark Ruffalo and all that, is like Hollywood is already self-destructing. Like we've seen that with the, there's a massive, basically it's a Hollywood recession, right? People are out of work in Hollywood. They're pulling movies and television shows out of Hollywood. Apparently it's all kind of going to hell, right? So we had COVID, and then we had back-to-back strikes, and now we have them coming out and, you know, saying what they really believe about the world. I don't know. Do you think this is going to push Hollywood to just implode on itself? Is this just another nail in the coffin of Hollywood too? Put your thoughts down below. I don't know. I find it curious. I find it, look, I can't do a damn thing. I keep voting. I keep voting for the politicians I think will kill fewer brown people. And then they get into office and they're like, oh, you know, it's fun killing brown people. Again, like I say, Nobel Peace Prize winner. Fucking Obama. Got the Nobel Peace Prize for walking in the door. He showed up to work. People were so fucking impressed. They gave him a Nobel Peace Prize. If that is not low expectations, I don't know what is. And anyways, they found during the whole global war on terrorism that he was also part of, that basically that they were killing, they were murdering too many civilians with our drone program. Yeah, we had our drones up in the air, they had the Hellfire missiles, they would launch the Hellfire missiles, and too many civilians were dying. And so you know what our Nobel Peace Prize winning president did. He was horrified. He was horrified. We can't have the American people seeing us murder innocent civilians halfway around the world. So we're gonna start calling them terrorists. We're just gonna label every male over the age of 13 as a militant, and therefore the civilian death toll will plummet. See, before Obama came into the office, the civilian death toll was this. Obama came into the office, redefined what a civilian is, and the death toll is this. That is the true sign of a Nobel Peace Prize winner. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. What do you think about all this stuff? Put your thoughts down below. Give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down. Say I'm amazing, say I'm a moron. Just be a real alpha dog and put it down there in that comment section. And with that, see y'all later.